Hey everybody, it's Bust with Bust Builds Decks number 31. Today we'll be playing with Janna up against Aurelion Soul on the Starforger quest. And so, before we dive in, sorry for the lack of content. I've really been trying to figure out how I want to get these Path of Champions videos together, and Janna has been a real struggle. Like, I think this will be my third Aurelion Soul video that I've been trying to put together for Janna. The first one clocked in at like 2 hours and 15 minutes. The next one clocked in at like 2.5 hours. And I can't just put that forward. I really want my videos to be about a half hour, a max about 45 minutes or so. And just doing these straight playthroughs talking about everything just isn't going to work. And so I'm hoping to get this kind of honed in a little bit. The constellation stuff comes out today as this video is released, and so it's an exciting time to be getting into Path. It's going to take me a bit of work to get kind of used to the switch and the new style of editing and making new templates and stuff, but I will try to get back in that groove of getting the content out each day. And so my idea with this, what I would like to accomplish is I plan to, as far as gameplay goes, talk about the mini bosses. So there will be 2 within the Aurelion Soul battle, and then the final boss battle, and that's where we'll call it a day. The thing I would like to kind of focus on is the deck building aspect. So we'll try and talk about each of the card choices, the relic selections, the power selections, and all of that. But I'm going to be skipping over a lot of the battles throughout the course of the video, and hopefully by taking out those 10 or so battles, that will get that video down to about half hour, 45 minutes or so, and be somewhere I feel a little bit better about what we're putting forth. I know some of you would love to hear me yap on for a couple hours, but I think that's where we need to stand. And so, off to battle with Janna, very different from our recent battles with Lux, an entirely different style of champion in terms of what the Janna kit is capable of doing compared to Lux that we just did. And so Lux was one of the easier champions of the game, Janna on the hard difficulty, and I don't believe she's going to have a constellation, so this video should be relevant for the upcoming months until I guess they cycle back and give all of the champions constellations. My thinking and understanding is they said there will be 20 champions that have constellations. Viego comes out with this new patch with either a rework or just completely new to Path of Champions. All of the champions coming forward are going to have constellations, but the ones in the back will have to be kind of reworked. And so whatever number of champions there is now, like 36, there's about half of them or so don't have them. Janna is one of them, and so it's going to take some time for them to come back to her. But nonetheless, as we talk about any deck within Path of Champions, there's my 3 pillars of Path of Champions. You have to be able to scale, you have to be able to elusive, overwhelm, or rally, and you have to have some kind of unconditional removal spell, be it a stun, a recall, or a card like Vengeance. And so Janna has a little bit of this under wraps. She does have the champion power that allows her to scale a little bit. So on piece number 1, this Eye of the Storm ability, when you play a cost reduced card, grant the weakest ally +1/+1. And so she scales a little bit. It's not something that you really have to chase after with Janna. A little bit of scaling won't hurt, but it's kind of at the bottom tier of what we're actively looking for within the deck. After that, some way to elusive, overwhelm, or rally. The elusive on Janna just isn't enough, and so we're going to need to find something, right? Overwhelms, which I don't really like on the Aurelion Soul battle because all the champions are double statted, but overwhelm, way to rally like domination or a last breath rally thing or whatever, something to let us achieve that. And then the unconditional removal spell is where Janna really hurts. This starting deck, while it's not so bad on the earlier stages, this deck really sucks against Aurelion Soul. There's only, to me, 4 cards within the deck that I really like. I like the Forge Chief, especially with the Ephemeral Totem if your champion level is up this high. Ballistic Bot is fine, Sump Dredger's fine, Exalted Cloudbinder is fine, but the rest of these cards kind of suck. What we're going to see as being the big problem for this deck is all of our removal is stuff like Howling Gale. Only dealing 5 damage at best just isn't enough. Whenever your opponent comes at you with like a 10-12 Sejuani and you're just dealing 5 damage to Sejuani and she's like, LOL, nice try, boss. It doesn't feel very good. It gets especially worse with the Howling Gale, as it does clog up your deck. and then you have to draw more and more versions of this shitty card. And so that ties into the relics and what I try to do here with Janna. To me, she really needs to ensure that she has enough late game. She tends to be this kind of spell slingery control deck kind of thing, and the worst thing that we can have happen to us other than just outright losing the game is getting to like a 7 or 8 mana gem turn and then not having anything to do, just having like a 2 mana card to put on the board and being done. And so the saving grace for Janna in that sense is her flip card, her additional champion copy spell is the Eye of the Storm that lets you draw 2. And so I'm happy to stack in a bunch of copies of Janna within the deck. So that's why we're carrying the Chameleon's Necklace, giving us those extra copies of Janna. Really helps ensure that we draw her early, and then all of the additional draws are not dead cards. After that, we'll be using the Guardian Angel. I've really grown to like the Guardian Angel on Janna. It does, have the kind of minor effect of having an additional revive. I don't intend to lose any of the matches, but RNG happens, and so it doesn't hurt to have the additional revive. But the last breath is the big one. We don't have to put a bunch of effort into protecting our Janna. We can get very aggressive with her in combat. We can use her to protect our health total, just blocking a rando overwhelm or something. It turns out to be very powerful and strong. The other kind of interesting thing with this last breath revive is if you can find summon abilities to attach to Janna, you do get to activate those. So if you have on summon draw a spell, or if you have something like Trifarian Might that strikes if you have 5 power, you can find a lot of interesting ways to get additional value out of these summon abilities just by sacrificing Janna and having her resummon. We're very rarely going to try and flip this Janna, and so those value plays are very interesting. And so that's where we're at in life. That's where we're at in Path of Champions. That's where we're at in battles today with Janna. Let's dive on in, see if we can't get a good match up here against Aurelion Soul. All right, running through the battle stuff. Ezreal here at the start. You're not going to watch that, right? What do we got down here in the middle and stuff? Aurelion Soul at the top. Let me see, friend. Don't run away so fast. Grant the foe's units 1/1. That's a very good one for us in terms of Aurelion Soul. You'll be seeing us battle Nautilus, and you'll be seeing us battle Ashe. And so, jumping into the beginning, the first power that we can kick off with, very good stuff. Spellslinger turning up is just absolutely fantastic with Janna. Ties into her level up ability. It ties into her hero power to where if you play a cost reduced card, it reduces the cost of the card off the top of your deck. Works fantastically with Ballistic Bot. All of our ignitions being free, so we never just have to kind of throw them away. More than excited to pick up the Spellslinger here. Otherwise, the Vestayan Disciple and the Enfeebling Strike, I don't hate Enfeebling Strike with Janna because your removal spells are so bad, right? And so if you at least have to spend a removal spell on a unit, you do get to take away a big chunk of its attack power, but that does not feel good. Here at the beginning where we're really looking for build-around type powers, I'm very happy to have Spellslinger. If it wasn't here, I would just take a reroll. All right, so our post-battle selections here, these cards are all pretty terrible. Like, I'm not opposed to picking up Maryam. I'm really surprised that Maryam isn't actually within the Ezreal deck, and it's what we're going to be taking here. She's good enough to not want to roll away, but it's not the kind of card I'm really looking to add into the deck. It just doesn't have a really high power level to it. But you can find a lot of times with Maryam to where you want to actually updraft for mana, because card advantage isn't that big of a deal with this deck. You have tons of ways to draw cards with the Jannas, and so a lot of that payoff now type of thing with Maryam is worth the card disadvantage. So we'll take her. We're never killing anything with Blighted Ravine anyways, so that sounds pretty reasonable to me. Now the good stuff. Let's see if we get a good champion combo in here. What do we got? Shen, not that great. We're not really a build around, a combat kind of build around, right? Shen with the
Phage isn't that bad. He has a nice stat line. Key Guardian does a little bit of useful stuff here, but it's not really what we're looking for. Tryndamere just does not theme with what we're doing whatsoever, and kind of the same with Quinn. And so if I wanted to take one of these champions, I would take the Shen Pile. He's the strongest champion here. Getting the life steal out of the Spirit's Refuge is kind of nice, but I'm going to take a roll and look for something a little bit stronger. Into this next set, very interesting. Don't want Zilean. He kind of works. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to picking up Zilean and then just trying to cut the Pyromancer and the Kahiri, but that doesn't really sound like a winning game plan, right? Up next, there is Lux. Lux is exceptionally strong. Do not like Lux starting with free attack, right? We are not a very good combat-oriented deck. We can't protect Lux when we play her and she just free attacks, and so we'll not look towards it. One of the last ones here in Pantheon is strong, but we're not going to have the unit targets to make that work. Again, we're not a combat-oriented deck. Gonna burn another reroll. All right, moving into the next set. Rek'Sai, never taking an easy pass. Irelia, not super interested in either. She does have the most interesting card up to this point in the Defiant Dance, but not really interested in it. And so I lean towards Vhagar here. My problem with the Darkness kit is that the damage just isn't enough, right? If we're playing a Dark Ball, or if we're playing a Darkness for 2 damage onto an opposing champion with 10 health, it doesn't really give us a chance to get the kills. Now, these are good support cards, with the Twisted Catalyzer having quick attack and the Acolyte having quick attack, so we could kind of get some work going there. The Dark Bulb Acolyte does have Augment, and so that does work with our Ballistic bots as well. Maybe we could build into a discard type strategy, but I think if we go this path, we just have to be in on the burn route, right? We want to talk about Elusive, Overwhelm, or Rally. There is a touch of an aspect to where you can just go for a burn deck, to where we're going to try and kill the opponents with Darknesses. Now, I'm not super familiar with trying to do that in Path of Champions. I'm not entirely convinced that Vhagar can scale up fast enough to stop an Aurelion Soul, and so I don't think this is where we want to be. So what are we going to do? We're going to spend that reroll. We'll find something eventually, and here we go. Here's one of Janna's best friends. We'll pick up this Nilah here. This should be just right on track with what we're trying to do. Now, I don't like a lot of these cards. Like the Formless Blade kind of sucks, even though it has the burn aspect tied to it. The Nilah is great with the cost reduction to her, and then Vikrash does add Slipstreams in, but he doesn't really fix any holes within the deck, right? We're looking for Elusive, Overwhelm, or Rally. I know Vikrash has Elusive, but he's not a great attacker. We really want like a big Rally kind of thing. And the card draw here is not what we need. But at the end of the day, Nilah Janna is a pretty good combo, and we'll see what we can do with them. And so moving forward, we can head to an item chest, to a spell chest, or to a Boxtopus. No idea what the Boxtopus does, but I think I would prefer to just come up here to this item chest, because these other ones are kind of bad. Like, I don't want to add more bad spells into our deck. I just want to upgrade our good cards. All right, and so an interesting set of cards. Like the Nilah Janna deck is just coming forward full strength, full bore, and I do like the idea of a lot of the stuff happening here. The Master Lookout is kind of okay. It's something that we should, very frequently be able to play for free and then get some decent bonuses. And the Deathless kind of means that it's can be good early and in the mid game when it comes to blocking, and so there's maybe something there. The Wizened Helmsman is a kind of Nilah Janna classic back in the Sunken Temple eras of the deck, using it to, come in and then cast a removal spell and a card draw spell, but I don't think we need the value at this point. It's just a little bit too expensive, and so I am a little bit interested in this Formless Blade. Again, like, I'm kind of curious if we can't assemble this kind of machine gun burn deck to where we're doing a bunch of just burn damage with the Formless Blade that deals 3, and then having the I don't know, lightning charger. just just out here making up names to cards. What's this thing? Divine whirlwind, dealing damage to the face as well, with the bonus damage to it, so it does 3. I could definitely see there being a thing like that. Because again, like Aurelion Soul does get kind of challenging to attack through, and so maybe we do kind of come in and try and craft this Elusive's Burn style of deck. And so, while I don't really like Formless Blades, I am going to pick it up here. The chimes are very relevant within this deck that can draw a ton of cards, and I think that we have like at least an interesting direction to start chasing things down, because these Formless Blades are going to be free the entire time because of our powers. So let's go down that path. Let's go down that route. See if we can't add a good item to something interesting here. And what do we got? Not the most interesting set of cards, unfortunately. I'm really looking to go down that kind of Spellslinger path. The Exalted Cloudwinder with the free attack is somewhat powerful in the sense that it helps us churn out a lot of damage, but kind of in that same vein as Lux, without us being able to really predict when we're going to be able to use it, I worry that it's just not going to be effective. It's just going to come down and die. And so I think I'm going to just burn our last reroll here, see if we can't find a good item to slap down. And very interesting here with this Gotcha. Gotcha is the kind of card that I usually look to just take out of our deck, but with it just generating a Slipstream in hand and then that Slipstream being free, I think that this has got to be kind of okay. And so let's go down that route. Let's go down that path, see what happens. All right. So moving on, moving up. It's an interesting set. Like I like this idea of bringing the burn deck together, and I think this Mystic Shot can help us do it. Like I like that it creates the Slipstream. The place to where we're really going to be able to pop off with this is if we can get an upgrade to the Slipstream itself, right? So we have the Mystic Shot creating them. We have the Gotcha creating them. Our Formless Blade does damage to the opposing face. Like that damage to the opposing face is what I'd like to get on these Slipstreams if we can. And so I wish we had more rerolls at this point. We don't, but I'm going to pick up the Mystic Shot here. It's just an incredible value coming out of that, and then we'll see if we can't assemble this deck in the way we want. So now, up against the Scribe of Sorrows. What's this? Buy any number of these powers. Their cost doubles each time. I don't really want any of these. Like the round start when, or the draw cards at round start isn't that bad. I'm kind of curious if we shouldn't just be taking bonus health as a way to just ensure our survival. But we have so many revives. I guess the other thing is, like, there's a shop right next door, and so I don't want to spend like a ton of money on here not getting the shops. Now, what I would say is if we didn't have ways to draw 2 cards at the beginning of the game and have our Nilah be free, then I would be a lot more interested in this game start draw 1. But I just don't think we need it. I know, like 75 gold. I guess 75 gold isn't that big of a price. All right, I'm going to buy one. We've made a purchase, okay? And now I'm going to go to the shop. Like, I typically like cutting cards, but I would love to see if we can't find an upgrade to that Slipstream. And so we'll see what turns up. This all looks like garbage here. I did notice that the Magical Journey creates Slipstreams as well. That could potentially be a thing, but I don't think we're particularly interested in any of these cards. Udyr is always interesting. I wish we had some more combat effectiveness so we could make him work. He does do created card stuff as well, but nah. What's the powers? Ooh, the Bouncing Blades is quite good with Janna. Very happy to pick this up. Number one, it's going to be free, right? All of our spells are free, so Bouncing Blade's going to be free. It works with our augment units if we want to discard anything. It's there. Like, just great combos we can get out of the Bouncing Blades. Love seeing that thing turn up. And so, cool. Off to battle with Ashe. This is the midpoint, right? This is the mini-boss, so we'll chit-chat throughout the battle, see if we can't get you up to date on our deck if you haven't been following along. Up against the Tryndamere Nexus. We've run into this multiple times today, and I keep fucking it up. And so it's typical. It's typical, you know. That's the way these things go. But all right, let's see how this is. We got Nilah to start with. That's gonna be a big thing. Pick up 2 more cards here. Nilah combos back into Formless Blades as well. We have all the ways to generate these slipstreams. Like, this shit's gotta pop, right? I mean, this seems like we're gonna do some really awesome stuff today. Just go ahead and get this unit off of the board. Collect the slipstream. Now these, it's worth noting, like, I keep thinking in my head that these are going to be fleeting slipstreams, and that's not the case. These are permanent ones that are just going to cost 0, and so very, very powerful set of stuff we have going on here. Let's get a unit on board. We'll get the Sump Dredger down. It's going to be a little bit more combat effective here. Blade's Edge is perfect for taking down Omen Hawk. Continue to make this Nilah grow. And I want to play the gotcha while it's on the cheap. This is just like the crappiest unit to have to drop gotchas on. But it's okay. Things are starting to come together. He's going to block the big boy, slowly chipping away at his health. I'm not certain what to do with these Formless Blades at this point. Like, I would like to, you know, it's like 6 damage of burn that we already have in hand, but they don't, like, actively do anything on the board. Here, we can just take the damage from Ashe. Right, we're at the mini-boss battle, so we'll just immediately heal right back up afterwards. So I think we'll just look to add units and not necessarily go towards Janna this turn. We can still play Janna next turn, and then start playing Slipstreams, and then the cards that we draw off the Slipstreams will have the reduced cost from the Janna ability, and so maybe that'll work out in an interesting way. What are we up to? 7 of 15 on the Nilah flip? Okay. Let's do this. I'm going to send away 2 Slipstreams. I just kind of envision casting double Formless Blade on Ashe this turn and seeing if we can't potentially get a takedown there.
My aim is true.
Might just get a lethal this turn. It's tough to tell. Healing cute might get a lethal, you know. We're never downing that Ashe this turn. What kind of crazy idea was that? Never downing Ashe. At least clear out the blocker. I think we might get the lethal here, though. We're kind of close. Not as close as we really need to be, I guess.
Coming through. Submit to ecstasy. These are our lands.
Rip Nilah. We've still got another one in hand. That's one of the good things about Nilah, though, is we don't lose out on.
In you, I see my will.
We don't lose out on her level ups, right? She just cares about cards drawn across the game. Not the same case with Janna, who's about to flip. Do we ever have to worry about just getting killed by Ashe this turn? I mean, I didn't really give her much credit, but the ability to pop off for 25 is a real thing. Now, what should get us out of our worries of dying to Ashe here is our hero power, right? As we play spells in the middle of combat, we can grow our units, and all of these Slipstreams are burst spells. So even if Ashe like drops Crystal Arrow, attacks, freezes the entirety of our team, we should still be able to get through this.
By my wind shall the down
Formless Blades. Man, I need more Spell Slinger stuff. I want to just do the burns right to face. What do we got? Block? Okay, I guess. I don't think we'll get too clever with this turn. Like, it hurts me to see these spots to where we could potentially pick up a little bit of value, right? We're passing the turn with no mana up and stuff, but the game should just be done on the next turn, and so I'm just going to try and get out of this round as fast as possible. I don't think we have any super interesting combos to showcase right at this moment, and so we'll see how it goes. Other than just drawing a million cards in the middle of combat, killing our opponent at burst speed. That's always kind of cool, I guess. Oh, fuck. This is this dumbass round? God damn it. Why is it so low with the amount of damage we're dealing? Alright, well, let's see if we can't chip away at this, I guess. I thought that this was going to be much smoother. I was like, oh, God, we're just going to attack and finish everything. I failed to realize that our opponent was going to get to heal. Howling Gale. We're getting to the part to where we're about to run out of space in hand. I don't think we're going to get up to 13, so let's... Why does dealing a damage to Ashe reduce the amount that they're going to heal? Okay. Oh, we're picking up... We played a reduced cost spell. Gotcha. That's what it is. So that stuff's coming in, I guess. I don't know. Maybe we are getting to burn range here. Formless Blade can come in. The Divine Whirlwind can come in. Keep drawing more cards. Says we're coming in for neg 20 now. That's pretty good, right? Is that lethal yet? What else do we need to do here? Slipstream. Okay. It's coming together. Got a free gotcha to put on the stack. It's weird that you're able to do this stuff because you can't really rewind these combats, right? Right? Once we start putting spells on the stack and then cast something else. I don't know. Maybe the Seraphine players of the world are kind of used to that thing, but that was a nice little finish there, right? That was a nice little finish using the Janna ability and the spell slinging and everything. I like where we're at. I like where we're at. This isn't standard fare for a bust deck, right? People tune into the bust channel and say, all right, I'm going to watch this guy attack with Jack Zorn, and then game 2, he's going to play a Glacial Saurion. Like, what's this nonsense? Watching bust cast all these spells. But all right, what are we going to do here? Again, like the Quick Strike Blade, it always worries me on these champions. We could technically put it on Janna, because if she dies, she'll just come right back, but I'm not really interested in that. I think we're kind of stuck with the Vampiric Scepter. And so what it's going to come down to is which of these champions do we want more? And I think we would just want Nilah's. We're going to convert from being kind of a Janna deck over to a Nilah deck because picking up those Formless Blades is how we plan on dealing a lot of our damage through those kind of combo turns, right? Where we're casting Slipstreams and then casting Formless Blades to deal the burn. Now, now that I say it out loud and now that I think about it, with Formless Blade costing 1 and Slipstream copying 1 and Formless Blade also being the champion spell, we should be in this space to where we might be able to just infinite combo the opponent to where the only 2 cards remaining in our deck are Formless Blades. So we cast the blade, cast a Slipstream, cast the blade, cast a Slipstream, and just cycle through that way. And so we'll see if we're able to assemble the infinity combo because it seems like something that's doable. So moving up next, we got a power. What do we got? Round start rally? Absolutely. I love domination. Just lets us end a lot of these games much quicker, right? If we need to elusive, overwhelm, or rally. Our deck feels like it's in that combo space to where it's not that important anymore, but I don't think we want the Vestayan Disciple. I do like Chrono Break. Don't get me wrong with it. It's easy to think that Chrono Break does a bunch of stuff. In addition to rally, it rallies and then does other stuff, and so it is a way to get the rallies into your deck, but it's definitely weaker than domination here. And so up next, I see a champion item chest up top. That's where we're going to go. We're going to take all the champion item chests the rest of the way. We're going to stack every copy of Nilah we can into our deck and really try and push that combo forward. All right, into the next set. Interesting stuff. Like, I don't really want any of these cards. I'm really just looking towards the Ye Been Warned here because it's going to be free, right? It kind of has some card draw stuff tied to it with the kill a unit draw thing, but I don't think we want more copies of Eye of the Storm. It's a little bit expensive. I don't want rummages. Like, we've been getting good usage out of things like Blade's Edge without the need to rummage it away, and so I think I'm just going to go with the cheapest one here. Now, the reason you might want to pick Eye of the Storm is it does upgrade the Janna flip, right? So all of Janna's flip Eye of the Storms will have the chimes attached to them as well, but just don't really want this card in our deck. Like, I don't feel like there's any game to where we really want it. We'll just add more copies of Janna in our deck if that's the ability we want. And so, up into the champion item chest, definitely taking Nilah. Do we want any of these? Augment sounds kind of interesting, being able to really jam her attack up, but it can be kind of difficult for her to actually deal combat damage, just again from where the champions are so big. I'm kind of leaning towards this when I'm summon draw one, because if we get to continue down this path of just playing Nilah the first turn every single game, having her come down and then draw cards, not the worst deal. And so I think we'll go ahead and snatch that up. Now we'll be up against Jen and then running into a shop. And so the post-battle rewards, Forge Chief, Loaded Vessel, Tide Dancer. I have no desire to add in the loaded vessels. Now, the Tide Dancer could have a bit of interest within this deck if we, or I'm sorry, if the boat could activate multiple times within the same turn, but only getting that one round and only getting the brash. Like, I'm just trying to envision the times when we actually need that kind of like adjacent combo kill. Like, I just don't think it's going to do it for us, but it does draw a Nilah on play, which counts as a Formless Blade, makes everybody a little bit more challenging to block. I don't know. I could kind of see it. I'm also a little interested in this Forge Chief in the sense that we can just add it and cut it. So then you get 4 copies of the cards out of your deck, and you aren't just stuck with these like random Tide Dancers. But I don't think that's the route we'll end up going. I am going to take the Forge Chief. It is, at the end of the day, just the cheapest card that we have access to, and that has a bit of merit. So after that, the power, since we don't have rerolls, Lurk is decent. We do get to attack every turn of the game with this deck, and we haven't struggled too much to go wide, and so I could definitely see Lurk being a thing. What do we have in terms of spells, though? Summon Mighty Poro on Divine Whirlwind isn't horrible. I'm not opposed to just picking up 1 copy of that. Don't want the Tavern Keeper, the Monkey Idol, don't want Brash Gambler, Pilfered Goods, Monster Harpoon. And so maybe the 1 copy of Divine Whirlwind is okay. We don't have a lot of summon type stuff, and so I don't think this is just going to like need a critical summon, but we can't do it because this dumb unit hit the board, and so maybe that'll be okay. So let's take the Lie in Wait. Only going to pick up 1 copy of Divine Whirlwind. That'll put the item onto the thing, but we don't want these 2 additional copies. We don't want to stack too much of these into our deck. So after that, looks like we have another shop down at the bottom, or we have a Ethereal Remitter at the top. I think Ethereal Remitter lets you sacrifice a power to get one of the next highest level up. Do we have anything we'd want to get rid of? Like, I guess, like upgrading the knowledge, the game start draw 1 wouldn't be terrible, but not really worthwhile. I don't think we want to go towards that. So we'll go down towards Swain and then go to the shop.
All right, so what do we got here? I was almost interested in this Sump Dredger. I think it's probably still the card we'll take here with the Scout, right? Just being able to... oh, never mind. I was thinking of like a free attack Scout and generating a rally. That's not going to be a thing. That's never going to happen. And so, yeah, I guess we'll take the upgrade to the Sump Dredger. It's one that we might actually end up cutting out of our deck, but there's a lot we want to cut, and I don't think we're going to get that deep. But Fortune Croaker, not really interested in. The Benefactor, not really interested in. And the Sump Dredger is at least moderately useful in our deck. And so we'll take it, hopefully help finish out some games. Into this next shop, what do we got? No rerolls again. Unfortunately, the power. Summon a Greenglade Lookout I do like with the Janna deck. Just really ties into everything that we need in the sense that it's just a touch of early game interactivity, which we've been doing fine with the Nilahs, but having something in the early game is good, and then having that reduced cost thing tie into all of our Janna abilities is kind of good. And so definitely going to take it. If we circle back, free attack on Vikrosh, maybe, maybe. It's a little scary, but I think we can pull it off. Like, I've been getting more and more confident as we play these games and being able to just do obnoxious shit in the middle of combat with like all of our slipstreams and stuff. And so that's probably reasonable. I don't think we want a ton of Vikroshes, but he might be able to get a bunch of damage in or something. I don't know. I'm struggling to convince myself. Definitely want this Greenglade Lookout, though. So let's cycle back to these cards. Again, we can't re-roll. Zap, I don't really have a need for. He's just a little too expensive. Free attack on Vikrosh. He's just not that big when the attack happens. I think it's just going to be, like, when it's good, it's going to be, like, just 2 damage. And when it's bad, it's going to be a problem. Because we have kind of developed a little bit of these games to where we just kill with the elusives, like we kill with Janna and another unit and just load them up with the stats. And so I worry that that's going to be the problem. Like when it's good, it's very mid. When it's bad, it is bad. And so we'll skip on that. Now, the one I am a little interested in here is actually the Flash Freeze. We don't have any good removal, right? And being able to just like flash freeze the Sejuani while we're up against Aurelion Soul can really buy us the time we need to finish off a game. And so I think I am actually going to pick these up. It is a pretty fucking terrible removal spell, but it is only going to cost 1 mana, which is a pretty decent deal for the Flash Freeze, and so I don't think we'll hate it. Now we're going to roll into the healer. I'm going to cut these Mystic Tornadoes, whatever they're called, Howling Gales, out of our deck. We're getting to the point to where they just don't do anything, and so I think that's a reasonable remove. Now we're up against the second mini-boss in Nautilus. He gets a mana gem to start with. Must be nice. Let's see how that battle goes. Okay, no Nilahs. Sad day. Take that full mulligan. See if we can't find our friend here at the beginning. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Guess we'd rather it be now than as opposed to when we're up against Aurelion Soul. Hey, there she is. I knew she wouldn't leave us hanging. A lot going on here. I'm looking to probably just play Mariam and pick up mana. Right, we got a just ton of cycle and stuff within our hand. I don't think we'll play 2 Sump Dredgers. Let's just cycle 1 away. Now we can like play Nilah and still blow up the opponent's board. Be really close to just ending the game on the rally attack next turn. Coming in for 12, and then we'll get that 13 actually, and then we'll get that cost reduction off of the Greenglade Lookout strike. That's how you aggro, right? I've aggroed once in my day. I know how good that feels. It just doesn't have anything to do. Is there like a vengeance coming at us? No. What a joke of a boss. Man, I'm glad you all tuned in for that one. That was a that was a real game, huh? That was a real game. That's what gets everybody gripped and attached, you know? You say, man, I want some compelling gameplay, something that's really gonna bring me in, make me do the real hard thinking and stuff. You get one like that.
But nonetheless, very happy to pick up more copies of Nilah. Iceborne Gauntlets is just one of the premier removal spells you can attach to these units. Absolutely love it. And so wouldn't be opposed to a tune, pick up a prank. Just would be another, like, comes down, just get a card that's free, you get to play it, level up our stuff. But the Iceborne Gauntlets are just premier. And so definitely glad to add those in. In terms of the power, what do we got? When an ally dies, grant its power to unit in hand is good. This was actually really nice in the previous video I recorded but didn't get to post, using it with Trifarian Might and using it with the... I had the Forge Chiefs with the thing that when you play it, it puts a copy in your hand, and so you would get to play them and get double strikes and replay them and just keep striking down the board and make sure they kept growing with inheritance. It was pretty nice. But I think we're going to be stuck just taking easy prey here. Like, I could see an argument to just pick up flexible game plan, since it does help us ensure that we draw Nilahs. Like, I feel like the only way we're losing these games is if we don't draw our Nilahs, and so there is some reasonable choice to pick up flexible game plan, but it seems like we're starting the game with like 8 cards in our hand anyways, so there's not too much we can actually get out of that. Now moving forward, we have a shop or an epic shop or a healer. Probably just going to go for the epic shop and try and pick up the epic power. We have the 400 gold to buy it, and like cutting the two who are you, like cutting out the 2 copies of Patrol Wardens doesn't feel that great. Like, I would actually be more interested in, say, cutting the Forge Chief, since there's 4 copies of them. But I think the high power we get out of that epic power is going to be better than just cutting a card. All right, so what are we gonna do here? More Cloudwinders is what I'm leaning towards. Like, it seems a little bit better than to me than the Eye of the Storms. I guess there's a small argument for Octo Adventurer being a card generator. I could definitely see a world to where we need to play Octo Adventurer to get a Quicksand and an opposing Sejuani so we don't die or something, but I think I'm just gonna stick to the Cloudwinder in this space. Then moving up to the shop. What's the power? That's what we really want. When you target an ally with a single target spell, copy it on your weakest ally. Now, the way I immediately think of Share the Bounty is that this is not particularly good in a P&Z deck or a Bilgewater deck or a Janna Nilah deck, in the sense that you really want this to be in a combat-oriented deck to where you're, say, able to copy a combat trick, right? You cast your +2/+2 on a unit, then copy it somewhere else, you get some kind of bonus. Now, where I'm very interested with Share the Bounty is casting Formless Blades on our own units, right? Formless Blade deals damage to the enemy nexus, and so what we can probably do with this is cast Formless Blade on our own unit and then just deal 6 damage to the opposing nexus, which just sounds way better than casting it on our opponent's units. And so I think we're actually going to be getting some very bountiful Formless Blades, if you will, right? Deal 2 damage to a unit. It's not deal 2 damage to your opponent's unit. So definitely going to pop off with that. This shit's going to be sweet. We got anything else cool in here? Did we pick up a Master Lookout earlier? It's another unit that has the gauntlets on it. I'm very interested in the gauntlets as we approach Aurelion Sol, and so I think I'm going to go ahead and snatch these up. We don't have any in our deck yet, but it is a premier removal spell at this point. All right, next set of stuff. I think we just continue on with the gotchas. Not a huge fan of it, but it generates that slipstream, and so that's the big thing we're looking for out of this space. All right, so last set before the final boss, very easy upgrade to the Exalted Cloudwinder, getting the double time watch, round end, reduce the cost by 1. Looking good, and I gotta say, I'm feeling pretty decent about this Aurelion Soul. I feel like if we at least draw average, we should be okay. So if we have one of these weird games to where we don't draw Nilahs or something, then it's gonna kind of suck, but we have 2 revives if we need it. And I think that, you know, if we get Nilah going and some of these obnoxious kind of combo things happening, we should be in pretty good shape. And, you know, that's what this hand looks like to me. It's got a pretty decent start with the Nilahs and all the Forge Chiefs and everything. Janna turned up as well. The place I'm kind of actually curious about a hand like this up against Aurelion Soul is if you actually don't want to play Nilah on the first turn of the game so that you can use her to just take down the first champion that comes on board. I'm kind of leaning towards doing that, right? We can deal with things like Moondreamer. It's not a very real unit to have to be concerned about, and so I think that's what we're going to do. It's not going to hurt too much to just like pause for 1 turn. The straight boom for the Serpent, that feels kind of nice. Send the whole squad in. Unfortunately, can't cast our Divine Whirlwind at the moment. We'll have to do it post-combat against a regenerating Moondreamer if we want. None of that sounds particularly good. So let's just take it a little slower, pass for just a moment. Now we can Nilah down this Vi. Oh man, are we gonna have to spend mana on Nilah? Do we not have a way around this? Oh man, we could just do it next turn. I mean, we have a flash freeze for Vi if we want. Maybe we do just end up playing Janna here. So let's send back the Whirlwind. I'm gonna send back the Blade's Edge. We'll flash freeze Vi, whatever she comes in on here. And then next turn, we'll try and start to kick off and combo off, see if we can't finish the game next round. We don't even really need to flash freeze Vi, right? Our Janna's going to come right back. She's at 0 in terms of the reduced cost cards we've played. So I think we're okay there. Now where I guess we can struggle with this is if we don't draw like a card draw spell. We kind of need to chain through this a little bit, right? Our Nilahs are got to be free because of the Janna updraft, but we need to do a little bit more. Big Daddy Aatrox coming on board. I would rather get the Aatrox off of the board than the Vi. I don't think we're going to have too much choice, though. Let's lead off with the Patrol Wardens and see what happens. Aurelion Soul's going to come down this round. I think it's only going to be a 20/20, though. And so that's a bit annoying.
I will aid you, Nilah, for you face monsters.
Alright, let's see what we can do. So we're going to start there. Let's go ahead and start spending some mana. See if we can't take some of these units off the board. Where are we at? We got 2 from the Blade. 5, 6 if we want to take something down that way. So we could just shoot the Herald of Dragons. Just try and get the blocker off the board. Okay, I'm on board with that. Not certain we're going to be able to do enough this turn. Like, we only have 1 cycle with the Maryam. So maybe we just start to send our units in. We'll keep our champions back, but just send in the regular dum-dums. I don't think this is a turn for, like, Formless Blade combos. It's just not going to happen.
An exuberant flow.
That's enough to kill the dragon on the right. Okay, I don't think we die next turn. Like, I mean, he's going to get to flip his Aurelion Soul. There's nothing we could do about that. But we are protected with our flash freeze. Formless Blade turns up. Doesn't really do anything right now. Let's just go ahead and take the cycle on Maryam.
In you, I see my roommate, Janna.
Maybe I wonder if we should have just cast all this stuff first so that we would have had the elusive Janna running around. Might be okay. We'll see what kind of nonsense comes out of this Aurelion Soul in terms of the invokes. Who did he pick up? Mordekaiser? Okay. We can fight through that. Sump Dredger. There's the Mystic Shot to finally let us start chaining chaining slipstreams and stuff. And so hopefully we're just not a little too slow. I think as long as we don't die on some kind of open attack here, then we'll be completely okay. And so let's do this. I'm going to lead in with the Sump Dredger. We don't even really need to, I guess. Looking to just discard Blade's Edge. It's fairly weak at this point. I guess we'll just have to see how their attacks go. I didn't stop to check if this this Formless Blade was a Nilah. No, it's just an actual Formless Blade. Okay. And then he has no elusives on board, so Janna should be able to attack if she doesn't die. She's still got her last breath, right? It has the lightning bolt on it. I think that means yes. I think she's good to go at this point.
Your wickedness shall not prosper. Your strength is lacking.
Flash freeze onto Aatrox. Does Janna come back? No, Janna dies. But we have another Janna in hand. So let's just kill off these units that are never attacking. Yeah, again, I think we're okay here. It looks a little rough, but I think it's fine. Janna comes on board. That does nothing. Actually kills his own Aatrox, right? Oh, it's our cards off the Cosmic Rays. Okay, sure. So now we shouldn't have to worry about anything else from Aurelion Soul, right? Let's just start working the magic. Start getting those Formless Blade burns in. I'm just going to go ahead and play the You've Been Warned. I don't think it matters. We'll pop the Spell Shield on Aurelion Soul. Let's see where we start to get now. Formless Blade, You've Been Warned. So we're out of card draw if we don't cycle. Oh, we can't play our Sump Dredger? That kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. We're like so close to getting it. This is like my majorest concern as far as the Janna decks go, are being able to not stall, like not have this problem come up, and so we really need a good draw for the round next turn. So we hit for 9 with Janna. Just got to come up with a little bit more damage. So Nilah comes in. What just happened there? Oh, we haven't attacked with Janna yet. Okay. I was like, hang on. This doesn't seem right. But no, this is okay. Is this lethal now? We can attack with Nilah for the 2. Right, so opponent's at 11. Nilah's going to do her thing for 2, and then Janna's going to hit for 10. We're going to unlock that thing that is called Victory. Looky there. Down in the big boy, down in the Aurelion Soul. Collecting a victory. Mark it a W for bust. GG, well played. And so, interesting stuff. You know, that's not a typical... I don't know what to call a typical Janna run anymore. My Janna runs are all so wildly different that you are really just kind of tying into what you see and building around her. It's not a true build-around champion in the sense that we're not finishing the games off with Janna. She just tends to be a very strong support style of unit. And so I think that was pretty good recognition there, right? We had a lot of options. We spent most of our rerolls on the champion selection. There were a couple options in there that were kind of interesting, but then Nilah just turned out to be the superstar, and took it off and went running. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get to, really just go infinite with the combos that we picked up. But I think that recognition is what really carried this, was the seeing the slipstreams, the various ways to create the slipstreams. I don't know how much damage we did with the formless blades right there at the end, but it was a fuckload, right? As we cast basically every formless blade turned into 8 points of damage. And I really like that idea that we had of just churning through all of that free stuff and machine gunning in all of that damage. A very interesting way to chase after the deck. But man, that's what makes Path of Champions great, right? You don't get to play through that kind of thing in the space of a constructed deck. And so it's very fun, very interesting to be able to pull that out. And so good stuff. That was fun. I hope you had a good time with that too, because that is going to do it for us today. So if everyone enjoyed the video, we've maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.